and welcome to episode 20 freaking 2. Welcome. Thank you guys that are in chat already. Appreciate that. Today we have a very interesting show for you, and we're excited because it's a little bit different than what we usually do. A little. And of course we have Luca in the building.
What's up, guys? So happy that you're here. I think it's gonna be an interesting show today because one of the topics coming up, me and Blue don't agree on 100%. So you guys are gonna bear witness to a little bit of our behind the scenes debates.
Yeah, it's a debate, guys, not an argument. Make sure you write that shit down. Also, we have Newf in the building.
Hey, kaboom, it's Newf Nukem up in the SpeakPodcasts room. It is Sunday. I am feeling good. I can't wait to go. And I just want to thank these two lovely, amazing ladies for having me back on the podcast. After the last time around, I figured I was blacklisted, but no, they decided to have enough courage to bring me in back again.
You know what? I'm super proud of this moment because this is the first time that we've had someone on twice.
Woo! Yeah.
So
I'm a two-timer.
Two-timer. Loof already has his drink ready. We heard him crack that shit open earlier, just saying. So about to get a little crazy up in here. We do have a few things that we want to talk about, and I just want to reiterate again that this is going to be a different kind of show, and you might hear a little bit of a debate. Not an argument. Okay, guys? Okay. I don't want to hear nothing about that later. Let's get into our first segment, which is, of course, our questions.
Yeah, I got to figure something out here. So was it Newf you invited, or did you mean to ask Cletus? Because Scrotum brings it up here in the chat, so I wasn't quite sure, Because Cletus doesn't like to barge in unannounced, per se, but you never know. He could stop by from time to time,
Listen, Newf. We don't need to hear from Cletus. Cletus can stay already. He can stay home.
All right. I'll tell Cletus to go back in the pig farm.
Pig farm. Yeah. If you want to, whatever. It's fine. If there's a moment that you feel works, then go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Let's get into our questions. What 3 things do you think that you think of the most each day? My bad. What 3 things do you think of the most each day is the first question. So number 1, I think about a lot is, other than my family and things like that, I kind of keep that separate. When I think of what I need to do and the shit I need to get done, oftentimes I think about the show. That's 1. My stream, that's 2, and this is not in any particular order. And the 3rd thing I think about is my job, because all 3 of those things take up a lot of my time, and so I constantly find myself thinking about those things, in terms of the things that I have to get done for them. What about you guys?
Luca, floor is yours.
Oh, okay. So I think about how much sleep that I'm going to get the next night because I'm excited and I love sleeping. I also think about how tired I am. That can be one complete thing. I think about playing video games, and I think about my friends.
Pretty good.
That's cute. I don't know.
Is it my turn, Papa Smurf?
It's your turn.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say. Probably the typical guy things. I think about food, I think about sex, and I think about video games, and in no particular order. The difference is, with food I eat, and the other 2 I like to beat. So there you go.
What the fuck? Wait.
How many games have you beat this year?
I have beat quite a few. I just recently beat Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, or World War 2. I beat Lucky's Tale. I beat Mass Effect Andromeda, which took me an eternity. There was way more than that, but yeah, I've beaten quite a few.
That's cool.
Horizon Zero Dawn, the list goes on.
Somebody send help, please. I was not ready for that. Just saying. You're gonna turn every single question, I'm sure, into a moment. Okay, next question. What's one thing that really makes you happy? Great. This is just great. This is just gonna set it up for the fuck. What's one thing that really makes you happy? Let's just get it over with, Newf. Just let, yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna be serious here. One thing that makes me happy, I gotta say, is my wife. Because without her, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I went through some dark periods in my life, and when you find someone that you love and they love you back, without question, they accept your flaws and they encourage you and push you forward. I gotta say, my wife. I mean, I love her dearly with all my heart. She's phenomenal, and she supports me. And what more can I say? Like, I hope that everybody, finds that special someone in their life, because let me tell you, it gets you through some tough times.
That is so adorable.
That's so sweet.
I hope she hears this. That's so cute. That's really sweet of you, though, to be serious for a moment and say that. That's really cute.
Yeah.
Oh, girl. Now our answers are not going to be as awesome as that. But Luca, what makes you really happy?
Fox.
Oh my God. I just hope that you guys know that like, my answer is gonna be super, like, whatever, just because I did not know people were gonna get, like, super emotional today. I thought it was gonna be super chill. We just went from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. We're just, like, going all over the place. All right, Fox makes you happy. Why?
Oh, because she's just a really good friend. She's like one of my best friends, and she's very nice to me, and that's not something I'm really used to. Like, a lot of my friends we're all jokey and, like, we drag each other and all that fun stuff, right? Or, like, we're really sarcastic with each other, or it's just different. So yeah.
Foxy just seems to be a very sincere person. Like, she seems like the kind of a girl that wears her heart on her sleeve. She's very sincere, she seems like she speaks the truth, but she doesn't have that arrogance about her, that sort of stuff. At least from what I know, she's just very genuine. She's nice.
I love Foxy.
Yeah, she's a great person.
I'm trying to toughen her up a little.
Toughen her up? She's already tough enough. She doesn't need to be toughened up.
I want her. She's been doing it lately, and I'm like, yes, I love it. Yeah. Like, she's been telling people, like, shut the fuck up.
She can push back.
She's like, shut the fuck up, stop it. And I'm like, yes. I want her to be like that.
I mean, the claws come out when they need to. But she typically doesn't feel like dealing with any drama, so she just takes a step back. But if she's backed into a corner, she'll speak up.
Then her inner fox
she lives up to her name. She's like a real fox. Haven't you ever seen a real fox? How they're cute and they're cuddly looking and stuff. But boy, like, you ever watch those things tear the shit out of a rabbit?
If you fuck with them, they'll get you. I love it. That's cute. Well, okay. Well, since you guys wanted to be all, whatever.
Cuddly one, Leo.
I don't like that shit. I was gonna say that the thing that makes me happy when I feel a particular way, when I feel upset, is music. I listen to music in order to change my mood. A lot of the times when I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling upset, I'll play a song and it'll help me feel better. So yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the people that I love. They know who they are.
Well, that's a great thing. Music is, I agree with you 100%. That was actually a good choice, because, yeah. Fantastic. I mean, music really is, like, music is the universal, like, language for everybody, because it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, where you're from. Everybody loves music. Music speaks to people in so many different ways, no matter what type of music you're in. And I 100% agree that music can also get you through some very tough times in life.
Yes, I definitely can. Yeah, I can definitely co-sign that, because I remember a couple years ago, Slipknot helped me through a really, really, really dark time in my life. A lot of their songs, I could relate to them. And it was good having a healthy way to express myself. So I didn't end up doing something reckless.
In my experience, I recently just noticed how, I didn't just notice, I always knew this, but I saw something that made people come together, and music was involved. And honestly, that makes me feel really good, that something can make people just, like, come together and just, like, be happy and just love each other, and just not, like, all this bullshit going on, you know? Just that something that's so powerful can just make people, you know, not give a fuck about the other bullshit and just come together. I don't know.
The world is getting so bad that in the last, like, pretty much year, like, it seems like all the major musical artists are all passing away. They can't take it anymore. They can't even write music now to make themselves feel better.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's just so fucking, like, depressing sometimes. And I just feel like music helps me through those times in life, you know?
Yeah.
But we won't be very friendly today on this show, I don't think. We are going to go off. So let's just get it over with and start with our first topic. Our first topic today, I hope no one gets, like, bothered by this term, but our first topic today is fangirl or boys. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, I just had to do that. So the reason why this came up this week is, and it's sort of spur of the moment, sort of just, like, happened recently, you know, recently being, like, yesterday. Luca and I both went to go see Justice League yesterday, and we could not contain ourselves in terms of the way that we felt this. Okay, first of all, I don't know if you all know this in chat or if you're listening. Justice League got a low score from critics. I don't know if you're surprised by that. Whatever. If you saw the movie, you might be surprised. Who knows? And we were kind of upset because we feel like it didn't deserve that, and we are noticing a pattern between the Marvel movies and the DC movies. And yeah, we kind of, like, called each other yesterday. Luca called me and she was just like, yo, the movie, right? And I was like, yo, right? And then she was like, right? And I was like, right? And we were just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why would it get, I think it got like a 30 something from Rotten Tomatoes. And yeah, I was just like,
it got like an 85 from fucking critics, not critics, from the audience.
People,
and I'm just like, okay, so what is this, like, dichotomy here? This does not make any sense. Like,
it doesn't make sense that, like, fans would give it, I mean, of course fans are going to give it a better score because they're fans, right? Which is something we're going to talk about. But for the most part, people who go see these movies are super critical, I feel like, right? So there are going to be the ones that didn't like it that are giving it the score, and yeah, it's still, people gave it an 80 something score, and 30 something from, like, a 30 something from critics. And I'm just like, what?
Like, it's very inconsistent. It doesn't make any sense. And I got, like, okay, I left the theater feeling hype, and I was like, I'm gonna start some fights on Twitter right now. Right now. I made a bunch of crazy posts. Honestly, this console war stuff doesn't. I blocked 2 people, actually. But, like, this console war stuff is kind of whatever to me, but I am 100% a DC fangirl. I was saying some crazy things, right?
Oh, boy.
To my friends. I didn't want to say it on Twitter because I knew everyone would be like, Luca, you're doing too much. But it's just like, I made a couple posts saying, oh, yeah, this movie was really great. It was phenomenal. And then I made additional posts saying, do not at me, Marvel fanboys. Do not bother me about this. And what happened? They bothered me about it. So I blocked 2 people. Someone was like, oh, it's garbage, block. Someone else was like, oh, clearly you don't go out that much if you think this is a 9 out of 10, block. People think I'm playing, but I will block you if you bother me about this.
Yeah.
I just feel, what do you feel about it, Newf?
Look, first of all, everybody has an opinion. Like, you know, the old saying, opinions are like assholes, everybody got one, and that's fine. Some people are going to like it, some people are going to hate it, some people might fall in between. You know, the same, I always say when it comes to movies, they're very subjective. It's sort of like that thing about books, you know, people always love reading a book, right? And I think the difference here, why books are always, like, amazing, and then you see a movie and you kind of go, oh, okay, I didn't like it. Here's the reason that books are always better, because in your mind, a book, the character can be whatever your mind wants it to be. Do you understand? Like, your mind will fill in the blanks, and that's why it's always pleasing. Whereas in a movie, for example, with this one, first of all, I mean, even when Batman versus Superman came out, it took so much heat right from the get-go simply because Ben Affleck was Batman. I'm not the biggest Ben Affleck fan in the world, but I gotta admit, he did a pretty damn good job. I mean, there were some things I didn't like, but it all depends as well on your interpretations, because for some people are really what you call like fanboy nerdy in terms that they really dig the comics. They're probably old school comic book fans. And I'll give you another example, like the old 60s Batman show, right? Like I liked that as a kid. I thought it was the coolest thing since sliced bread, but I can't watch that 60s Batman show now with Adam, or what's his name, West or whatever. Like that is corny as shit. Now, no offense to people who love it, but honestly, like I didn't grow up on comics a lot. I read the odd one here and there, so I don't associate with things. I just watch it for the face value. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. People are going to love it or they're going to hate it. But I feel that DC in particular and their movies, I feel, are like the Xbox of the movie industry. Like it's automatically gets 2 or 3 knocks down just because it's DC and it's not the Marvel be all end all. Like because right off the bat, people are ready to hate on it. And I think that movies did a pretty damn good job. The bottom line when you go to a movie, okay, bottom line, all said and done, did you enjoy it or not? Was it enjoyable? Did it make you cringe when you sat through it? Did you sit there the whole 2 hours and go, God darn, that was a long-ass movie. Like, I never want to see it again. Or did you sit there at the edge of your seat enjoying it and then go, man, I wish that was a half an hour? Because honestly, when I left the theater the other night, I was like, man, I could have sit here for another hour and watch this shit because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was awesome. Superman kicked ass, but I don't want to spoil too much.
I mean, you just spoiled it, though, but okay.
But yeah, I like it. I like the movie, and this goes for anything. You know, it goes for anything. Whether it's a game, it's a movie. Fanboys and fangirls, they get way too up. They let their panties and their underwear ride too far up their ass. They get critical of everything. Just sit back and enjoy it and appreciate the hard work and effort that goes in. And I can't wait to see the director's cut because apparently there's almost like an hour cut out of this freaking movie, which I'm not sure
so
why
excited.
they did that. But
that's so annoying, right? That first of all, they had a time limit, which is so fucking stupid. Like, why would you put a time limit on a movie that has fucking 3 extra characters that have not had their own movie yet, you know? Like, they don't, no one even, I mean, okay, assuming that people go to watch this movie without having any background on the characters, no one knows their story. Yeah. So, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I could have done with an extra, I don't know, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Like, I would have been fine with that. I mean, I know people don't like long movies, but like,
I think they were afraid of getting extra backlash and hate because if it was long and people weren't enjoying it or they were going in with that sort of mindset, they're going to be critical anyway, then they probably would have slammed it even harder. Would have been like, yeah, well, that movie was like 40 minutes of my life I'll never get back, you know, like that bullshit. So
listen, people can pee after the fucking movie, okay? Hold your fucking pee. That is all I'm saying. Or wear a fucking diaper if you're going to go see the movie. And that is all.
Okay. Also, I feel like it's like the executives are really out of touch because the order to cut the movie came from them. I think that they probably took away from Batman v Superman. They were just like, oh, the movie was too long. People hated it because it was too long. Cut the movie short because they're out of touch with what's actually going on. Like, I don't even you know, I guess when you get to a certain point in a company and you make that much money, you just become an idiot, you know? So I think that's what happened there.
Yeah, and they can't blame it on budget because the movie was already filmed, so they already know that the budget was spent, so it was said and done, right? So
I just feel annoyed because I feel like, number one, the critics, when they give a movie a low score, there are people who actually listen to them and they say, hey, maybe we shouldn't go see this movie because it got such a low score. And what's fucked up about that is that then the movie doesn't make as much money as it could have, and then there's the whole possibility of them not making another one, you know? I mean, not specifically for this one, but just in general. And what sucks about that is that I don't think they realize how much power they have, you know? And when you have this much power, you should be a little bit more responsible when you're, you know, using it. Because, I feel like the bias is ridiculous. Like, I don't think that they actually think that the movie is that bad. I think that they let their, you know, feelings of whatever, that specific company or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to put this in, because this has more to do than just this movie. Like, this happens with many different things. And so how people feel about it, it clouds their judgment. And I don't feel that, like, it's not fair. Like, there are people who do these things. They review things and they say, hey, as a fan, I feel like this. But as a person that if I go in and I feel like, you know, I don't know anything about the movie, I don't know anything about the characters, I would say that this is a decent movie. Like, there are people who do that, who are able to separate the two, and I don't think it's that hard to do. And if you can't do it, then why are you in this position?
Yeah, we have a brain, people. That's why we have it, so we can make up our own minds, decisions, and opinions on our own without listening to other. Sure, I mean, if you're spending a fortune load of money, it's like going to buy a car. If you're going to make a, say, a $25,000, $30,000 investment, sure, you know, you gotta be realistic. But going to a $10 movie or whatever, you know what? Like I said, go check it out. If you're interested in something, don't let somebody else tell you you're not interested in it. That's the bottom line. I mean, Luca, you know this for a fact. You know this for a fact. Look at Destiny. How many people told you don't buy that piece of crap? And what game have you played the most in the last 2 months?
My own bias was against it as well, because I played some of the first game. I was like, I'm not interested in this at all. But then I was like, you know what? Let me give Destiny 2 a shot. You know, I can red box it. It's only $3. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. Ended up loving it. I have 7 days in that game. And you know, the thing of it is that I cannot stand people who are sheep. So what I mean by that is people who just go with the flow, follow the herd, just, they don't make their own decisions. They don't come to their own conclusions. You know, I hate people like that, because it irritates me so badly, because a lot of the people who were bothering me yesterday were like, well, I didn't see the movie, but the critics, shut the fuck up, okay? If you can't come to a decision on your own, you are irrelevant. Your opinion does not matter to me. And let me say this, mind you, most opinions do not matter to me. Unless I specifically ask how you feel about something, I don't want to hear anything from anyone, especially if you don't have the same opinion as me. If you hate something that I like, you better stay the fuck away from me about it, because I don't give a fuck if you hate it. All right? Okay? I'm just letting you guys know now.
She gives more of a fuck that you're taking the time to at her about it than she does about what you are saying.
Like, I don't understand why people think that I care about their opposing opinion. Like, that is something that I will never be able to comprehend. Why, if I see something on Twitter that I don't agree with, unless it's like one of my really, really, really good friends, you know what I do? I keep it moving, because I'm like, you know what, this is this person's opinion. Just because we have opposing opinions doesn't make me right, and it doesn't make you right. It just means that we both feel a certain way about something. It's like, opinions are not facts, people, and you need to get that through your head. So you coming to me saying, oh, I hated this, how could you like it? That doesn't do anything for me, because I'm a different person from all of you. I am my own person here, all right? And you're your own person unless you choose to be like the crowd.
Yeah.
I feel like most people choose to be like the crowd, though. And we have talked about sheep on the show before, but it's funny how it consistently comes up. It's still a problem. It's always an issue. And it's so annoying, because I feel things should be doing better, and it's not. And I see that it's not because of that, because of the sheep. Like, I can't even deny it.
And here's the difference, people, between a good fanboy girl or a bad fanboy girl, okay? A literal fanboy girl that is toxic, the toxic type, we deal with a lot of them in the video game community, is when they go, well, you know what, I saw that movie, it was a piece of crap, and I wouldn't go see it, and I don't think you should see it either, because I think it was absolutely just crap. Now, a good fanboy girl, because everybody has an opinion, we're all fanboys or fangirls at some level, because we have opinions and preferences, but a good one would say, you know what? I went and saw the movie. I was disappointed. Like, for me, it was a bit of a letdown. But honestly, if you're a DC fan and you love Superman and Batman, go check it out for yourself and let me know what you think. That is what you call being objectional, but not being an asshole about your opinion. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, for sure. And I definitely know that critics sometimes need to have like a little bit more flair, a little bit more, you know, something to stand them out from the crowd. So they have to say a little bit, something that's like a little bit more controversial. But I think that there's a way you can do it without basically shitting on the entire thing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't understand that point. Like, I don't understand why people feel the need. And most of the time, and this is with fans or with people that are giving their opinions, most of the time they haven't even seen the movie. Like, they'll just be like, oh, this is trash, or this console's trash, or this phone is trash, or whatever the fuck is trash, without even trying it. And then I'm just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I don't like that. I feel like if you're actually going to give an opinion about something, you have to actually try it, see it, you know? No, that doesn't make any sense.
It totally makes sense. It's what I've always learned in my life. I can never take sex advice from virgins. I'm sorry.
I don't. You are. I can't with you. I can't.
That's it, people. That's your Newf
it's
Nukem
true.
quote
It's
of the
true.
day. Never take sex advice from a virgin. Okay, bottom line.
It's very true. Oh, you just threw me off of that though. Now I can't. Okay. What were we talking about?
Newf derailed the show.
Yeah, so it's
God.
it's like people, they don't even go and see stuff for themselves. They just, you know what? I can't trust some stranger to tell me what I'm going to enjoy. There are so many movies that have gotten really, really bad reviews, and I walk out of the theater with a huge smile on my face because I love it. Because I know exactly what I'm expecting from the movie. Like, I love cheesy, shitty action movies. Like, I'm down for that. I love cheesy romance movies. Like, I'm down for that. I'm down for all of this. I know what I like, and no one is going to stop me from going to see something that I saw a trailer to and am genuinely interested in. Because you know what? Everyone hates that Assassin's Creed movie. I fucking love it. So I can't trust people to tell me what I'm going to like because no one knows. And the thing of it is that these reviews are just glorified opinions. They're not facts.
Right. That's true. And I think people
Exactly.
forget. I think people forget that even if it's someone that you really, really, really like, they won't know specifically how you'll feel about something. And you can like listen to all the reviews you want. It doesn't change the fact that you might have a different opinion. And then if you have the same opinion, then fine. Like, it doesn't mean that you should go around telling people who did enjoy the movie that they're stupid for enjoying that movie. Like, that makes no sense. If someone enjoyed something, why are you shitting on their parade? Like, you wouldn't want someone to come to your timeline and your feed and shit and be like, oh yeah, you're dumb for liking this movie, or nah, that shit was trash. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're just asking for attention, and you're just asking to just start an argument. Like, because that's all that's gonna do. What else is that gonna do? It accomplishes
Exactly.
nothing.
Unless they're Adam Sandler movies, because this new stuff sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
And it's like
But actually,
one of my
they do count.
bros, Sobsky bro, he came to me and he was like, yeah, the movie was all right. It was cool. Like, I saw him post that, right? He came when he saw everyone like coming at me like, oh, it actually wasn't that good. He was like, let that woman enjoy the fucking movie. Let her enjoy the movie, okay? Like, just let her enjoy it. And I'm like, thank you, bro. Thank you. Because I know me and him have different opinions on the movie, but he has enough respect for me to leave me alone about it.
Exactly. There's no reason why you need to argue with someone about an opinion. Again, an opinion about a particular piece of art. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The same thing happens with games. Same thing happens with consoles. The same thing happens with, and I know that like a lot of this is kind of just stuff that needs to go on just so that people can have something to talk about, right? Because if there were no console war, like, most of the people that we know won't have channels. I'm just saying. And so fine, like, there's gonna be differences of opinion, that's fine, but there's a difference between a difference of opinion and having respect than, you know, just being a fucking troll and just being like, oh yeah, that movie sucked. You know, like, you just look like an idiot.
And can you girls agree or disagree on this? But I think you'll probably agree that are we not in a society now that it feels like if it's popular and people like it, the general populace like it, that it's a cool thing to hate on things that are popular? Because I see this all the time with music artists. I see this all the time now. Again, the more popular a movie, the more hype it has behind it. It seems like the more people want to come out and hate on it. I mean, one of my favorite bands, and again, I'll probably take flack for saying this right now, is a Canadian rock band. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're called Nickelback. And these guys have sold millions upon millions of records. I like their music personally. Not all of it's great, mind you. I mean, there are some duds and there's some of it's a little too washy-washy for me. But for the most part, I like them. And they're amazing in concert. But yet, people just always hating on Nickelback, especially like even up here in Canada. It's like, oh, Nickelback sucks. Nickelback sucks. And it's just like, okay, but obviously they sell a lot of music, so millions of people obviously like them. So is it just that stupid small minority of people that are just always vocal asshats, or what?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because there's a lot of people who don't like Slipknot. They're like, oh, they're so mainstream metal. They're not even like hardcore at all. And I'm like, did you guys listen to their second out, like Iowa? You guys didn't listen? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just feel like people don't know what the fuck they're talking about most of the time. And it's easy to like just follow the crowd when it comes to certain things. Like it's just cool to hate on things, you know. It's cool. It's cool to be a hater.
I think people oftentimes want to fit in into the crowds that they are like familiar with. And so if you ever dare to step out of what is the popular opinion, people often feel that they'll be, you know, treated differently, and they're afraid to just like step up and have a voice of their own. And what's sad about that, and that's actually something that relates to the next topic, but what's sad about that is that we create a society that basically doesn't think for themselves. We don't have individuals. We just have groups of people. And that's so fucking boring. Like, that's exactly what we fight against, you know? Like, we should not be all the same. We should not be swayed from how we really truly feel in order to live up to this idea of what we should be. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Be yourself, love what you love, and don't be afraid to fucking shout that shit from the rooftops, right? Because if you like something, you like something. I mean, especially when it comes to art. Art is so subjective that it makes no sense for you to go and blend in with a crowd on something that's supposed to be, you know, there will be difference of opinions, but that doesn't mean that you can join the little troll factory and be like, I'm gonna tell this person how much they suck for liking this thing. Haha. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, I don't see how you can live a fulfilling life by doing that.
Yeah. And part of it's about validation too. It's something about society where they want to fit in, they want to find a voice, and it's trying like validation for the things that they spend money on or the things that they like. And it's very common when you see it with the consoles or PC, you know, where somebody spends that money and it's like they got to spend the whole time trying to defend it and validate their purchase, you know, or they feel like, oh my God, you know what I mean? It's just craziness.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I do feel that, I mean, I don't know specifically how, other than people just stepping up and not, you know, following the crowd and kind of just doing their own research and figuring things out for themselves. I don't know how else it could be fixed. I mean, that's how I battle against it. I do my own research and I try and figure out what I can, you know, figure out about it. And then I come to a decision. I don't necessarily think that I'm not the type to trash on someone's opinion of a piece. I don't think that it, you know, they're not going to change their mind just because you're telling them it's trash. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. At the same time, if I feel like I'm not going to stop being friends with someone just because they don't, you know, like something, right? That seems kind of silly. If you like something different than I do, then that's fine. I'm not going to try and persuade you to like the thing that I like, and then I don't think you should try and persuade me. And at the same time, you know, there's a way that you can go about it that it says how you are as a person. If you feel that it's fun to go to people and be like, what you like is trash, ha ha ha, then that says a lot about you and how you are. And so that's where the issue comes in. That's where it becomes a problem. And that's where, you know, people might not want to be friends with you anymore because of it.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, if I didn't eat at every restaurant that some of my friends said, hey, man, you should never eat here, then I would be one skinny dude right now.
Actually, I believe that. There are a lot of places that people, I forgot about that actually. Restaurants too. Like, people do that with like restaurants and food. Huh. See,
you walk in, you have a burger you don't like, and you come out, well, you know, the food at that restaurant was shit. Okay, but how much of the food did you try?
Exactly.
Well, I had one burger in there. And then you go in and you eat the burger, and you're like, man, that burger was amazing, right? But you like, again, try things for yourself. At the end of the day, take what they said as a grain of salt. You know, like, respect their opinion, but at the same time, don't live and die by somebody's opinions. Do it on your own. Be your own person. Make your own choices. And if you're interested in something, regardless if someone else is not, go ahead and follow your heart, follow your interest, and just do it.
Do it.
Come on, do it. Come out there. Buy everything. Check it out.
Oh, God. What the heck? Who is this?
He's Arnold. Arnold, stop by your podcast. I love you, ladies. You're awesome.
Okay, that was weird, but I love it. Oh my god. Okay, you keep doing that. You keep getting me just like distracted by your like antics and stuff. Okay. I love it, but like also like stop that.
Stop that.
That's our next segment. Stop that.
Stop that. Don't do it anymore. Just stop. Actually, that would be a good segment. I forgot what I was saying. Fuck you.
Get to the chopper. Go. Do it, Blue. Do it.
I'm so freaking. I'm a little bit sick, guys. So don't mind me. I've been finding everything. Yesterday I was streaming and literally the corniest jokes had me dying laughing. I was like under a cloud of Benadryl. Goodness. All right. So I think we said all we needed to say here. I do think that if we forgot anything, that we would definitely love to read your comments. So leave them down below later when the video goes up. And we can definitely add that to our list of things to rant about. We are going to move on to our next segment, which is Girl, Let Me Tell You. So, girl, let me tell you. Of course, this is a segment where we give you a little story about things that happen in our lives. And I don't know. Sometimes it just needs to be said because honestly, people need to get their shit together. Just saying. We say it every show, but I'm just going to say it again. So I'll go first. Everyone knows that I did go on a ultimate Blue on the Bus ride. It's been a while now. I mean, we've been talking about it for a few weeks already, but I had so many stories that I just saved them one per week, and you guys all seem to be enjoying them. So, okay, there's one specific dude that I don't know if you guys all remember, but he was a little bit cray. But that same dude we're going to talk about again. So this dude is sitting next to a lady, and it seems as though the lady got on the bus with her partner. And the bus was really full. All the seats were basically taken up, and so they couldn't find a seat that was together. And so the woman decided that she would sit in one particular seat, and with her luck, of course, she had to pick the seat next to that guy. And the guy went to the back of the bus. So the guy in the back comes to his, girlfriend or wife or something, and I'm just assuming here, I mean, their partner, and decided to, I guess, look at the person that she was sitting next to and just sort of give these like longing eyes of just like, would you possibly think of maybe switching seats with me? But he didn't get to ask before the fucking rude man decided to say, don't even ask me. I'm not getting up. And I was like, is he for real? He literally didn't even give him a chance to ask the fucking question before he said, I'm not moving, so don't even ask. And I'm just like sitting here looking at them like, is this guy fucking serious? I don't understand people like this. Like, first of all, if they're together, like, why wouldn't you, I don't know, be nice about it and like switch seats with him? Like, that's so fucked up. I don't
like. Is it like switching seats, or would the guy have to stand too, or like what?
No. Switching seats. He wouldn't have had to stand. He could have found another seat. There was another seat next to another person available.
Wow.
He just didn't want to switch seats with him because for some reason, I guess I don't know, wanted to be a dickhead. Mind you, this was the same guy that screamed at the lady and said your headphones are too loud. Instead of just putting his headphones on, he just had to tell her that her headphones were too loud. So I'm just, I don't know. I kind of feel like if it were me, I probably would have went off on him just to tell him how much of a dick he was, because honestly, that's so uncalled for. But the guy just kind of like looked at him and just like walked away and like had like this sad face, and I felt so bad. I just felt like so bad for him and his partner. I was just like, this is like so fucked up. I don't understand people. People are stupid.
Yeah, crazy world. Everybody has extra opinions now, but less common courtesy. Just something that, I don't know, like some people have bad days and some people take it out in the wrong ways, but it's never no excuse. It's just common courtesy. If you can see somebody, you can see it's a couple, and it's kind of like opening the door for people. Like you see a senior citizen walking to a door, and it looks, and especially if they got things like canes and walkers, I think the average person, or at least somebody with some common sense and courtesy, should open the damn door for the person. And it's also nice to say thank you when they do. It's that sort of mentality, right? And you see it all over the place now, where people are too busy and they have no patience. You see it in lineups, you see it on the LRTs, you see it, on buses, where everybody's in a hurry to get nowhere, and everybody's just ignorant and rude. It's almost like people get off in this like hate train or something. Our society is getting like fucking worse by the minute, and I don't know if it's just society because people are stressed out, money pressures. I don't know. There's really no excuse. Just people need to have more common courtesy.
I just feel like people don't give a fuck anymore unless they're involved. Like if he were on the bus with someone and he wanted to sit with some, like I'm sure he would have been upset about it. I'm sure he would have been like, "What the fuck? You're so mean." But no, it wasn't him. So he doesn't give a fuck. That's usually the case, right? If it's not you, you don't give a fuck about someone else. And that's why we have such a fucked up world. Just saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my girl, let me tell you. What's your girl? Let me tell you, Newfie.
Girl, let me tell you. Well, I suppose I didn't get the chance to think on this one too much, but it kind of goes to the same thing. Just can't stand ignorant people in lineups, people that, like the common courtesy, and I do this all the time. Like if I've got 2 or 3 items in my hand or something, or if I got a cart with like $300 worth of groceries or something, and there's somebody standing behind me, they only got 2 or 3 items and there's no express lanes open or anything. Common courtesy is to let those people go forward. I do that all the time if I see somebody like that, because there's no need to let them wait if they're only going to be a minute or two. Mind you, the one situations that sometimes do piss you off is when you let that person go ahead and they got like 3 items. And of course, when they get to the checkout, all their items don't scan, or they need like 500 price checks. And then the person can't find a staff to go do it. And, or they got a problem with their card, or the old lady that's got 3 items, but she brings out like 40 coupons and shit. And then the cashier doesn't know what to do. And you're like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I do that all the time. I go to the gas station. Sometimes all I got to do is just pay for my gas, and then I'll get this and it's usually an older lady, like most of the time. He'll come in and she wants to buy like 500 lotto tickets for the weekend, and it's like, man, with all the lotto tickets you're buying, you could have been freaking rich already anyway, woman. So what's the deal? But yeah, like I just hate ignorant people that have no courtesy. And this time of the year, while you do see lots of nice people do nice things, there's a lot of like people now, because it's the holiday season and people are shopping, there's way more traffic. I just find you got a lot of those sitting there, they're waiting for any chance they can to jump down a poor cashier's throat. They have no idea that, a cashier has probably been on their feet for hours on an end. They're tired. It's a shitty, thankless job, right? And I just can't stand ignorant, rude people that just have no courtesy.
Same. Yeah, and people need to probably get their shit together and like think about if you were in that situation. That's all. Just think about that for a second.
Yeah, but a lot of people they don't, because they think they're too good for those jobs. They forget that at some point we all were, or we all are still in that position. Like, where, a job is a job and it should come with respect. At least people they're trying to work to make their money. They're not just being lazy asshats that have no intentions of doing anything good for themselves. Some people are not in that situation by choice. It's like right now, I can tell you, everywhere that I go, it's hard to get a job. I've been out of work for a little while myself now, and I've been trying to get back to work. And trying to get back into the radio business is not an easy gig. They're not a dime a dozen. They can't just walk into 5 places and go, here you go, here's my resume. It doesn't work like that. So people need to just be, at this time of the year, try to have a little extra patience and just try to put yourself in those people's shoes and be courteous and kind and offer a smile or ask them how their day is going. Just the little things is what makes humanity what it is.
Okay, I'm just gonna clarify a little bit, because I feel like people in the chat are a little bit confused. It's not that the people were standing and he asked if he could sit next to his partner. That's not what happened. What happened is it's a full bus. Everyone gets a seat. There are many seats, so people are ready. They don't like to get on the bus and sit next to someone. They get on the bus and sit next to the empty seat. And so because everyone did that, there were a bunch of seats available, but they were all from different places in the bus. So the issue wasn't that he didn't want to give him the seat. The issue was that he didn't even let him ask if he could have the seat next to his partner. He just said, no, don't ask me because I'm not getting up. That was the rude part. If he didn't want to give him the seat, fine, whatever. I mean, he could have said it in a nice way and like, I don't really feel like sitting back there. I don't really feel like sitting in the seat that you had. You know, I don't want to switch seats. Like that, okay, everyone has whatever. He didn't get to ask the man to have the seat. He just said, don't even try it. I'm not giving you the seat. Basically, that's what he said. So there's a difference. Like, what? I don't know why you guys are so confused. Anyway, he was a dick in general. So if you heard last week and the week before that, you would hear that he did other shit that was also very dickly. Thanks. That is all. Anyway, yeah, I don't like people that are mean. So there's a way to go about things without being an asshole.
Yeah.
A couple means nothing to me. I will help all people.
Going just back to that whole cashier thing. It also goes two ways, though. It's a two-way street sometimes, too, because I see some like really nice customers trying to be nice, and the cashiers have absolutely no customer service skills whatsoever. And you're like, how the F did this person get a job here? Because can you not smile, ask how anybody's day is going, or did you find everything that you need? There's some people that literally like chuck your stuff down through the till as if like they were trying to hold on to hand grenades or something, you know, and you know, they're just rude, and you just be like frig's sakes, like, I don't know. It goes both ways, but yeah.
For the simple fact that people are agreeing with the fucking man that didn't give the other man the chance to even ask him a question, I'm gonna slap y'all. I really am. I'm wreck. If you don't stop, you always do this to me. No. Just no. Just like no. He could have given him a chance to ask the question. That is all I'm saying. I'm so done with this. You guys are all assholes, and I don't like it. I don't understand why you are saying like, oh my God, whatever, a couple, like whatever. It wasn't the fact that it was a couple. It was the fact that he didn't give him a chance to ask the freaking question. God. Anyhow.
I do not co-sign Blue's statements. You know,
I'm kidding. I love you guys. Ew, Iceman. Slap me. Ugh.
Slap.
Slappy. What? Okay.
That was a slap.
That is a horrible slap. It'll be a little harder than that. Just saying. Anyhow. Okay, stop slapping yourself. No. I can't. Moving on. Next topic is kind of going to be a little bit more serious. So, I have to like take a deep breath. It's happening. It's happening. We're going to move on. Topic number 2 is going to be a little bit more serious than topic number 1, and I hope that we can all just like be a little bit adult about it. It's called Call Them Out ? I put a question mark there because there are some people who don't agree with calling people out for saying particular things, and that's something we're going to talk about. I had a few situations, and I've seen a few things recently that just have me questioning why people don't do anything anymore or say anything anymore when people are being assholes. My situation just now that I spoke about is definitely something that someone could have said something and no one did, including myself. And I do feel that there are situations that not a lot of people will say things. And I mean, each to their own. Everyone has particular things that they're comfortable with. But at the same time, there are particular things that I feel like if more people said something about, it might be better for the world.
Right.
In my experience, at least the last few things that have me kind of a little bothered are things that are having to do with racism, homophobia, sexism, all these other things that just kind of are wrong for people to joke about or go on rants about, or, you know, like for example, a video I saw recently, and all of you may have seen it, of a white man yelling at an Asian man, racial. I can't speak today, guys.
Racial
Wow.
slurs.
Racial slurs, and basically he also assaulted him. If you haven't seen this video, you can easily find it. Just Google it, and it's kind of one of those things where someone was recording, and someone was thought that they would share it with the world, which is actually something that helps in a way. But in the particular situation, they didn't do anything. And so things like this happen all the time. Things like this happen in person. Things like this happen on the internet. Things like this happen a lot. And so I'm just a little bit concerned, I guess, with why people don't do anything or say anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think, guys, about that?
Luca, the floor is yours.
I think that there's a time and a place for everything. And I genuinely believe that because there are people who make a big deal out of simple jokes, when it comes to more important things, everyone treats it the same way. Take, for instance, Colin Moriarty. He made that joke, A Day Without Women, peace and quiet. Thousands of people got on him, and they said he was sexist, and they were like, this remark was not called for. And it was a simple joke. Now, it wasn't funny to me, but it wasn't offensive. It was nothing. You know, it was a simple remark, yet thousands of people got on him about it. That is something that I would consider an overreaction. And because of that overreaction, everyone is on the defense. And when it comes to things that actually matter, they treat it like the other person is overreacting because they're so used to the person overreacting to smaller things. So take, for instance, when PewDiePie said the N-word. I didn't care that he said it. I was just like, oh, okay, he said it. Obviously, that is not an okay word. It has a lot of racial connotations. We all recognize that word. There's a really ugly history behind it. When I spoke out against it, I got several remarks with people saying it's not that big of a deal. You shouldn't give words power. People are inclined and entitled to say whatever they want to say without you commenting on it. And I was like, okay. And that was concerning to me. People are so desensitized to these situations because everyone around them is attacking others over dumb shit. Take Anita Sarkeesian, for instance, saying things like, I think she said, like, I don't know what it was exactly, but she made a really dumb comment about a video game being like sexist. And then there was this other instance where this girl was doing some VR thing, and the guy was like, someone on the internet was like, you know, acting like they were touching her or whatever, and she was like, I felt sexually violated. And I was just kind of like, you could have just taken the VR helmet off. I think people, it's kind of odd, the society we live in, because there's two different spectrums, right? And they're both extreme in their own ways. One spectrum is people who are overly PC, politically correct. And then the other spectrum is people who are completely desensitized. They're like, I don't want anyone telling me what to do. Fuck this liberal bullshit, all that stuff, right? And it's very odd that the society we live in has like people on that both ends that are it's just so different. You know what I mean? And I think people clash a lot. And then there's everyone in the middle who leans one way or another. But at the end of the day, no one likes being told what to do. For me personally, there's not a lot of things that I'll get super worked up on to the point that I would go out of my way to tell someone, hey, you shouldn't have said that, unless I have an emotional connection to them. Now, you know, Newf's my dude, right? Newf, you guys know Newf. He has said a lot of things, right? if I ever feel like Newf has said something where I'm like, bro, maybe you shouldn't have said that, I will go to him behind the scenes and me and him will have a productive conversation about it. No accusations, just a conversation where I explain to him how people could be feeling about this. But for the most part, whatever Newf says, I just let it fly over my head because I know that he's joking and it's not a big deal. And then there are other instances where people, they make stupid jokes and sure, it's not okay what they said, but it's kind of like, well, it's whatever. And if I ever feel the need, if I ever feel uncomfortable or I don't want to subscribe to someone or be around someone, I put myself out of the situation. I take myself out of the situation. I'm like, no, I'm good with this because you cannot tell people what to do because they will not take that lightly. They will instantly be on the offensive and the defensive, and they'll say some dumb shit in response, and you'll just have to be like, oh my god. And it turns into something, you know, you take something small and you turn it into something big, and it just becomes a completely ugly situation overall.
I want to commend you on that too, by the way, Luca. That's something else that people don't take into account is like you were totally in the right. Like I said, if I say something stupid or somebody else in the community that you know in particular says something stupid, is to go and do a personal DM and address the issue as opposed to like doing it publicly, because sometimes too, like that doesn't help either, because you go out and you humiliate somebody publicly by calling them out on certain things. Like there is a time and a place. I'm not saying you don't do that in every instance, but especially for those people who you know, I think it's more important, like, hey, if they did something wrong, say, hey, I want to talk to you afterwards and we'll do it, because it's like people in a work environment, you know, sometimes when the boss comes down on an employee and they do it like publicly, and I've seen this happen where they go in a store and an employee does something and the boss comes down on, but they do it right in front of the customers. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to choose somebody out for doing something wrong, at least do it in the privacy, because nobody likes to feel humiliated and embarrassed either, because sometimes it is something simple and it can be fixed with just a simple apology. Sometimes it goes beyond that, but I just want to say I commend you for that sort of action. And again, you got to use your brains, people, and just try to figure out when is the right time and place.
Okay, so here's my thing. I understand when there is like jokes or things that, you know, don't necessarily mean to come off as a particular way, and I do feel that there are definitely people who have come down really, really hard on other people when their intentions are not necessarily to be a particular way. And so it kind of changes the tone of what is being fought for, right? I do not think that it's okay for people to not, or to let things slide all the time. Because the problem with that is that the more you let things slide, the more it becomes okay. The more it becomes okay, the more people do it. And then the lines become blurred, right? What becomes a joke doesn't necessarily carry out as a joke when it's being done later. A lot of the times people have a big following, or even if they have like a small following, but they're on a public forum and they say these things. Most of the time I try and give people benefit of the doubt and maybe, you know, say to myself, it's probably that they don't know, or it's maybe something that they are used to saying that they didn't realize was offensive, or maybe they just like, no one has ever told them, right? And so if I see a tweet, for example, or if I see something that's being said on a show that I'm watching, then I feel that I might say something. In me in particular, I decided to remove myself from a situation recently where I was watching a show and something was said that I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's not funny. And then I left. I was questioned about leaving, and that's when I answered, like, this is why. And then what happened was that what was said was getting repeated via tweet. And so I was just like, I don't know if these people are aware of the fact that this may be an issue. So my response was more just like, hey, do you guys know that this is an offensive thing to say? And not necessarily like, you guys are this, blah, 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 blah. And so my approach was of just like, I don't know if you guys know. And so I think that changes the tone. And it gives people an out, to be honest, because if you say like, oh shit, my bad, then you don't look like a dickhead. But if you double down and you're just like, we're just joking, calm the fuck down, then you look like a dickhead, right? And so the issue is that no one else says anything. So of course it looks like that one person is like being, sensitive, or being like a what is it, social justice warrior, or like things like that, right? All these like labels that people give people when they are trying to do something to sort of like stop them from doing it, because no one wants to be the negative thing. So the problem is that if no one else says anything, then it becomes like, oh, this person's just overreacting, when most of the time people would be afraid to say anything. Most of the time people would not feel comfortable just because they aren't the type of person to say anything out loud. And the issue I have with that is that you don't know sometimes if you're offending someone because people don't tell you, but that doesn't mean that you should continue to offend people. Like if no one tells you you're being offensive, right? You might not know, right? Let's just say, I mean, there's a Google, right? There's things you can look up. But let's say you heard this particular thing all your life, and so you're around, I don't know, a community of people that say it, and so you think, oh, like, it's fine, everyone else does it, which is usually what people do.
Here's a perfect example for you, Blue. Like what you're going to say, here's a perfect example. And we see this all the time, and it's a very similar scenario. Okay, context a little different, but how many of us have ever gone, say, to maybe it's our own house, or we've gone to a friend's house, or we've gone to a relative's house, right? And they have a kid who doesn't know any better. Maybe say they're 3, they're 4, they're just getting to the point, where they're starting to speak and stuff, and they're emulating a lot of things. And then you hear the kid say something that is really inappropriate, but you know what? All the adults think it's absolutely adorable and cute. So guess what the adults do? They laugh at it, right? So guess what the kid generally does? He does it again because he's getting that attention. He's getting that sort of reinforcement, right? But nobody's saying, no, you shouldn't say that word, little Billy or Jessica or whatever, you shouldn't say that. That's not right. That's wrong. And that's what happened. It's a very similar situation that we have with adults. The only difference between that little kid is the kid doesn't know any better. A lot of us adults, we do know better, but either we're just not aware or we're just spur of the moment. But I think that's the one difference,
Yeah, but the thing of it is, that situation in particular, if you had already addressed why you're uncomfortable with the person who came to you, and then you see the next day that they're still making jokes about it, it means that they are aware of how you felt about the situation, because there's no way that they didn't talk to them about it. And it just means that they're doing it because they don't care. But they're aware of the situation.
But the issue is not that, because the person that came to me and asked me was not the person who said it. And
yeah, but they would have told the person.
That's not something that I can confirm without asking.
Well, I can confirm it for you.
Well, you're not the person, but you're not the person.
Okay, but like,
talk to them?
We both know who you're talking about. I know that they talked to them about it.
You asked. They said so.
I know.
You asked. They said so.
I know.
Okay, no, that's not how that works. Either if they said it, then it's a confirmation. Did they say it?
Wait, did they say? I know because I was told. So,
my point is that there are also 2 other people involved, right? Who may have not spoken to them about it. So there's also that me saying,
okay,
hey,
but one of them didn't even say anything wrong, and then the other person who was involved, they would have talked about it with him as well.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm still saying something on the tweet because it was done in public. And so because I didn't say anything in the chat and it was done again, then I say something in the tweet. That's how I feel.
Okay, but it's also like, you said you went to them because you were like, oh, maybe they said this because they didn't know any better. But it's clear that they did, because they said it again. And they said it in the way that they said it. And it's also like,
it wasn't clear to me at the time that they did. That's what I was saying.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just saying that I know for a fact that it was addressed, and that the people involved just don't care. So in that situation, at least, it's kind of like there was no point in doing any of that.
Why?
Because it's like, it wasn't a big deal. The comment wasn't a big deal. It was nothing.
See, but that's your opinion, right?
And
you
my
don't feel like it was a big deal because you...
Yes, and this is my opinion, and how you feel is also an opinion. You're not necessarily right, Blue.
I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm saying that what can we agree that what the person said is offensive, the use of the word?
Absolutely.
So why, if I'm stating a fact, like, I don't know if you know this, but this is a thing, it's my opinion that the person is fucked up. Yes, that's my opinion. Because some people might see that and be like, I don't care if this person says this. This doesn't tell me anything about this person. Me, it tells me a lot about someone if they continue to say something even though it's offensive and they don't care and they're just going to keep saying it. That says a lot to me about someone. But if people, my point is that if it's offensive, right? Me saying something may help them, because if they don't know, they can change it and it might help them in their, whatever it is that they do. And two, it may actually help someone who may be listening to the show and doesn't want to say anything because they're afraid. That's how I feel. And that's what I mean by calling people out.
But it's just kind of like, if I see someone say something that I don't like and I'm not cool with them, I go about my day. And if someone's listening to someone saying offensive stuff, they should go about theirs as well. They should be like, all right, this is the kind of person these people are. Let me just go about my day and mind my business. Because calling people out for stuff all the time isn't going to end well for that person who's doing it.
But
because,
I don't necessarily think
people who live in glass houses shouldn't be throwing stones. No one is perfect. We all have moments where we say and do stuff that we shouldn't be saying.
Of course, and that's why people should continually... I feel like if people... Here's the thing. If you say something that's fucked up and someone tells you said something that's fucked up, would you be like, I don't care, I'm going to continue to say it?
Well, that's me personally. No,
that's what I'm asking
I'm not
you.
a piece of shit.
So that would be Donald Trump.
I'm just saying,
but it's like
that if
I get how you feel, because there's been instances. Take Chuck in the chat, for instance, bro. He knows I've called him out on a bunch of stuff. Like, me and him have talked about a lot of stuff that he's said before, right? But it's like, I was directly involved in the situation because we were having a conversation. You heard someone say something, and instead of just letting it go, you went to them directly and was like, why would you say something like this? Are you aware that this is offensive? And it's like, context is everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's like, context doesn't matter in that particular situation.
Also, like, we know these people enough to realize, okay, maybe they know, like, they're probably aware that they shouldn't be saying this.
Yeah. Context of how you say something is sometimes more important than actually what is said. Do you know what I mean? Like, I totally believe in that.
I think
and that's something you can't get when you say it through a chat. When you're on a Twitter or you're and you're doing it through text, people don't know sometimes what the context is. But I will agree with you, Blue. If it's offensive, it's offensive. There's no two ways around it. It might not be offensive to me. It might not be offensive to you or Luke or somebody else, but it could be offensive to somebody. But especially, and we all know basically at this point in time in our society what words are sort of triggers, what words are generally not looked upon as being good words. It's even like something as simple as the word shit, right? We say shit all the time. I'm saying shit right now, right? But some people don't like that word, like used in certain, you wouldn't use that in school. You wouldn't say, come into your teacher and say, oh man, this weekend was the shit. Nobody's going to care about it. Kids will probably laugh at it, but the teacher's going to scold you for it. So context is important. But again, if it's offensive, it's offensive. And our, like, in the video game world too, especially, and we hear this all the time. You hear those words online, and some people you hear, and some people laugh, and some people will say, like, dude, like, can you not use those words because those are offensive words, and it might not offend me, but it does offend somebody else, blah, blah, blah. I'm a white dude. People know that. But you can call me cracker all day long, and I don't give a rat's dingly dang, because just like I don't get my panties up in a knot over certain things. But that's not to say somebody else wouldn't. So again, my little philosophy is, and I learned this in radio, I need to apply it more to my social media. I get that, but my philosophy on radio, because I was always on the air, I was always being checked, was when in doubt, leave it out. So if it was something I was doubtful about saying, I never said it.
Just because about this doubtful about saying stuff, Newf? I mean, I'm just Newf. No chills, no.
Well,
No chills.
on the radio, on the radio, I can't be no chills Newf on the station I work for because I would have been fired like 3 days into my job. Yeah, I worked for a family-friendly radio station. People knew me outside of work, and they knew that I had a pretty eclectic personality and sort of off the wall. But at work, I had to keep myself in check because of the audience that I had to portray to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing, and also people in the chat, words are not just words, okay? Words have power. You cannot say, oh, we're giving them power, you're giving them too much. Words have power.
Words have power,
Take,
but
for
you
instance,
are letting things slide?
Stop. I'm not finished.
Don't. I mean,
Okay, sorry.
it's a question about what you said earlier. You're saying two different things and they contradict.
Oh, holy shit. I'm so sorry about that. I didn't mean to talk to you like that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What did you say?
They contradict each other, so I'm confused about which one.
Did I say words don't have power?
No, words have power, but it's okay to let things slide sometimes. Like at what point?
Words having power and letting things slide, they don't go together. They're not directly connected.
If you let things slide, you're saying that you aren't letting what this person says get to you or let it bother you, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if
I think you let them know when it's wrong, and if they continue to do something, then
that doesn't
that's
take away the power of the word just because I'm not letting it get to me.
But if the word that they're using has power, how do they know? Like, what I'm saying is, how do these people know, one, if they're not being called out on it by multiple people, that what they're saying is wrong?
That word, words people use, they are aware of the fact that they are offensive because they wouldn't say it at their job or at school or anything like that. They know it's offensive. They just don't care. Words have power because we're using words right now. We're speaking right now. Take, for instance, you're dating someone for a while and you tell them you love them. Are you telling me that those words don't have any power? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. But it's kind of like if someone came to me and was like, Luca, I love you, and I just let it slide. I'm like, okay. That doesn't take away the fact that the words have power. That just means I'm not affected by it. It's kind of like how I've been called the N-word so many times. I have been, like, people have done rape threats to me, like all that stuff, right? And I'm just like, okay, because I'm like, it's like whatever at this point, I'm used to it. But that doesn't take away the fact that what they said was terrible and awful and that they shouldn't be saying it.
Okay, so if someone says something to you that does offend you, right? How would you go about it? Because if someone says something to you via DM, are you going to just let it slide? Are you going to let people know, like, hey, this person's a fuck face, like, look what they said? Like, how are you? Okay, in what way do you call people? Like, what's your way of going about things?
All right, so if someone DM'd me something offensive, I would definitely just ignore the message, especially because my DMs are open and I've gotten odd DMs before. I let it go. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to address this because it's like, I don't know this person's whatever. If someone tweets me something offensive, I'll either like curse them out, call them out, all that fun stuff, right? But it's kind of like, it's like you said, these things are, it's directed towards me personally. So I would react that way. However, if I see someone saying something offensive on my timeline and I'm not cool with them, I keep it moving because I'm like, you know what? Obviously, this person is ignorant and obviously they are hateful and obviously they only care about themselves and they don't consider how other people feel. So I'm not going to waste my time talking to them about it because to be perfectly honest, I don't like when people come at me about stuff I don't care about. It's like at some point in your life, you just have to realize that people are just awful and they will do and say whatever they want to say without consequences, without regard to how anyone else will feel, because that's just how they are as people.
But is that how
and it's terrible, but it doesn't matter if it's how it should be, Blue.
It does matter because if people would step up, it wouldn't be like that. That's my point. If more people would take it into their hands.
Like I said before, it's because everyone has stepped up, so to speak, and they make a big deal out of things that don't matter. It makes the other side more defensive. And now I'm like saying it really depends. It really depends, you know? Because like people, like I've been in parties with people saying really messed up stuff that I don't know, and I will call them out for it. You know, I've called out someone for making like rape jokes. I'm like, yo, that's pretty terrible. Like, I gotten in on them about it, right? I'm involved in the situation. I've been on podcasts where people say really terrible things. I speak up. I'm directly involved in the situation. I'm scrolling through my timeline, or I'm looking through YouTube comment section, which I don't do because that's really bad. People say really, really terrible things on there. Like any of that stuff, I keep it moving because I know that people are just messed up. And if you try to spend your entire life going after everyone and trying to say, hey, you shouldn't be saying this or you shouldn't be doing this, it's just a waste of your time, essentially, because people will not change. People don't change unless they want to change. And you asking them or saying, hey, you know, that's offensive, right? People know it's offensive, Blue.
But you're assuming that they know. That's the issue. And because you call out one thing doesn't necessarily mean that you call out everything. Of course, it gets exhausting. There's definitely not anyone who's going to be sitting up their entire life doing that. But I do feel like that if you have a following, right, if you're doing it on a public forum, such as a podcast, such as a Twitter, and you have a following, and people listen to this person, then it's important for someone to at least tell them, hey, like, dude, this is a problem. And if they choose to continue, people will see that they will choose to continue, and then they can that's like a confirmation, like this person doesn't care about these particular kinds of people's needs and how they offend them, and so they can choose on their own to follow, unfollow, whatever. It's fine, right? But I feel like that part, that confirmation is important. At least it was important for me to know if I wanted to continue to support this person, in my experience.
Well, you know, but again, too, there's certain words as well. Okay, and let's just say the N-word, for example. That one is pretty obvious. There is no gray area with that word. Like, people know the connotations of it, you know, and they know that it shouldn't be used, period. Like, okay, like the bottom line. There are other words that are a little more questionable. It doesn't make them right or wrong, you know what I'm saying? But there's just some words that are still out there that have those gray area connotations to them. And like, I'm going to use one that you hear all the time of people online. Hey man, you ex-fag, okay? Ex-fag, for example. Like, the thing is, when somebody calls me an ex-fag, I don't necessarily think that the person's calling me an ex-fag because they think that I'm actually gay, but somehow they think that I'm going to be bothered by it. That sort of thing, and I'm not. I mean, it's a crappy ass word to use. Ex-bot would be better, that sort of thing. But you know what I'm saying? Like, they just say it out of the sense of saying it. You hear those words all the time when you're playing games, and it doesn't make them right. And yes, people should be called out for it, especially if you are offended by it. Then you should be called out for it, or at least let the person know that you don't appreciate it. And if they continue to do so, well, then, you know, you have to take the appropriate measures. It could be something like, hey, leave the game, report the person, let them know first, blah, 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 that sort of thing. So, you know, again, there's those little words, and we live in a society too. Like, what you did, Blue, I think is right. If you feel it's right, it was right. That's bottom line. If you feel what you did was right, it's right. But we live in a world now where, you know, everybody is very overly opinionated, and we also live in a world where people are more or less, they don't want to start confrontations. They don't want to be involved in a confrontation. Like, for me personally, I'm not a confrontational person. I get confrontational when I'm pissed off. When I'm mad at people, trust me, you see a side of me that nobody wants to see. But like, it takes a lot to get me there. That's the thing. Like, I don't easily get frustrated or angry or things like that, that sort of stuff. But we live in that kind of world where a lot of people are not confrontational for a lot of different reasons. Maybe they don't want to be looked poorly at by the peers around them, because if by speaking up, or alienate the friends, or maybe even thought of losing a friend. But I guess, mind you, they're not a very good friend, period, if they're going to leave you for speaking up for yourself. But that's part of it. And then you look at that incident on the train, where that guy, like I said, he slapped the Oriental person, like,
Asian. He
was totally wrong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. What he was doing was way over the line in so many areas. But some people, like him, and especially, you know, in the US more so than Canada, like, like your violence and the amount of like stuff is crazy. I'm not saying it's great in Canada, but like, man, I don't know who's packing heat down there. Like, it seems like every third person's got a gun in their pocket. Like nobody wants to, like, everybody wants, I think a lot of people want to speak up. They want to get up and say something. They really don't agree with it, but they also, at the same time, they don't want to risk getting shot or stabbed or beaten to death on a train. That sort of thing. So you have to respect where they're coming from. It's just personal safety and stuff like that. You can't trust those people. That guy obviously had some mental issues too. Like, he just, wow.
Yeah.
I commend the guy for having the guy who he slapped and he was defending.
We stood up. The guy backed up so quick. That shit was funny.
Oh, he was a big dude, wasn't he? Once he got up, I was like, damn, he was a big dude. But I commend him for holding his patience, because the average person, if that had been me, as soon as he'd slapped me, I'd have been up and it'd have been on like Donkey Kong. But oh man, like, but it's, you know what I'm saying?
And I get what both of you are saying, but Blue, it's like I've told you several situations where I've said something, where someone has said something like terrible. Or in like a few weeks ago, I told everyone about that woman. I was like, yo, you need to like chill with this, your Bible thumping, get it out of here. It's kind of just like, there are just some situations where I'm like, yeah, this isn't worth it, because I would say something if I really felt like what they said was awful. And I mean, what they said was awful, but if I really felt like the context of the situation needed addressing, like, I would say something.
Nah, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know, because
I've told you a bunch of times I've said something. What do you mean? Like, did that go through your head and pass out the other ear? Like,
no, I just don't know what situations you would deem important enough to say something in.
Okay, I guess that's fine.
I don't know which ones you would see as like, whatever, it's not that big of a deal, and which ones would be, because me personally, if anyone says anything that I feel like people could take into, like, if people listen to it and get offended by, my thing is that if a lot of people are listening, right, that's where I'm just like, what's going on here? And my personal, like, reasons for doing that is because it was a show that I listened to and that I supported. And so I feel like my thing is that I'm not going to support something that is being hosted by someone who doesn't care about how other people are feeling. That's not how that works.
Well, yeah, then don't support them then.
But that's what I'm saying. My confirmation came after the fact that they said clearly that they don't care. That's when my confirmation came. Not beforehand. Not before I was able to say something. And so my point in that is that if, for example, there were other people involved and there was one person that was involved that did say, oh shit, my bad, I didn't mean to offend anyone. Like, if I did, I'm sorry, and that's it. Like, nothing was being pressed after that. I wasn't going to continue to say, like, anything about it, because they apologized. It's fine. Like, I wasn't looking for an apology. I wasn't looking for anything other than, are you aware of this is what you're doing? And the person said, I don't care. And then that's it. It's done. So I got my confirmation, and I think that that was what was done there. But when other situations occur and when people don't say anything about them and I say something about them, I don't call out every single situation. I call out things when I feel like when I feel like it, because it's exhausting, and B, when I feel like it might be necessary. Obviously, there are times where you will be drowned out, and for your, well-being, if you are exhausted, if you don't, feel the need to argue with people, then there are times that you're not going to want to do it. I'm not saying it's something that needs to be done all the time. What I'm asking is why people don't want to do it, because there are times that people hear things that they just don't say anything, and they know it's wrong, but they're just like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not going to say anything. And I don't know if it's because it doesn't affect them, if it's something that they are just like what Newf said, are not confrontational, or if they're afraid, like genuinely afraid to say anything. That's what I'm wondering. But
yeah. we also live in a society that I want to point out as well that yes, while everybody has that cell phone in their pocket and everybody's filming all the shit that goes down or the stuff that's wrong, there's not as many people filming the good deeds that people do either. Like the person that isn't a racist who does something nice for somebody else who is not of their same sex or color, or you know what I mean, or does really nice things. That's the thing. Like we have learned that in our society that negativity sells, whether it's on the news, it's on the internet, and podcasts are even guilty of it. I mean, heck, you get on a podcast and you try to be neutral and you try to talk about consoles in a way that's fair and equal and stuff, and nobody gives a shit. Everybody tunes out and leaves you. But the moment you start going, oh, Xbox sucks, oh, PlayStation's a piece of crap, oh, and then you start calling out your podcast brothers and calling them a piece of, then all of a sudden the fucking, oh, your numbers are through the roof and you're spiking, even Crap admits that sometimes I say, Crap, why don't you kick out some of the negative guys? Because he said, honestly, I wouldn't have many subscribers if it wasn't for some of the negative people. Some of the negative people actually subscribe to him because they want to hear what he's going to say. This is the kind of society we live in. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I just want to point out again that we live in a society where somebody is less likely to pull out that cell phone when they see a nice deed, or the deed is just not it's not complimented. It goes under the radar. But if it's bad, oh boy, it makes the news. It's again like the Xbox One X, right? Now, many of us have got an Xbox One X, have no problems with it, but we're not all over the internet going, Microsoft, this thing is an amazing console, and I've had no issues. You don't hear that very much. You hear it quietly, but you're hearing the vocal minority right now who have a few technical issues, and they're making it sound like it's the whole bloody batch of consoles. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be very wary of all that too. Like, we forget the good, but we basically magnify the bad.
Yeah, I just think it's because the internet's like a cesspool of like terrible things, right?
Oh.
And it's like it really does say a lot about the kind of person someone is. If they're like, I mean, I've seen some things, man. I've seen some really messed up things, and I'm just like, block. Like I'm like, okay, yeah. Like it's just kind of like it being anonymous on the internet, it makes people brave. It makes cowards brave. And I just honestly, I just think that people are the worst, and I just don't think much of anyone.
By the way, for people in chat, calling people out doesn't necessarily mean that you are the one that is offended. You can have thick skin and still call people out, just saying. And I feel like it's a cop out to be like, well, it doesn't offend me, so I'm not going to say anything. That's a cop out. If you know that something's wrong, you would say something if it were something else that was being said. And I feel like that's stupid. If you're going to say something when it comes to, I don't know, racism, why wouldn't you say something when it comes to another ism? Like, I don't understand that. But
legitimate.
Oh my god.
It's fine.
Had to lighten the mood here.
I mean, I'm fine. Wanted to say real quick. Okay, so I do this thing, right? When people are talking to me, sometimes they try to speak and I'm like, don't fucking interrupt me. I did not mean to talk to Blue like that. I typically keep that for people I don't care about. So I do want to apologize. Like, I apologize a bunch, but I do want to say I'm sorry again for talking to you like that, because I should not have done that. And yeah. And even though me and Blue are not agreeing on this topic, it doesn't mean that like we hate each other or anything like that. It's just one issue that we don't agree on. And we're both really strong-minded and stubborn individuals when it comes to certain topics.
Mm-hmm.
Can you agree with that?
I'll block you later.
Okay. Add me to that block list.
You two are fantastic ladies that are very entertaining. Have your opinions strongly voiced, but that's what makes you you. That's why we appreciate you ladies. You tell it like it is. You see it the way you say it, or say it the way you see it, and you got to appreciate that.
I just want people to know that, again, just because you call someone out doesn't mean you're offended. If you feel like people are saying stupid ass shit, you should let them know they're saying stupid ass shit. Yeah. If you know them, it's even better. Just let them know, like Luca said in DM, because you know them. I particularly don't know people that well, so I'll just say it out loud. I don't give a fuck. But sometimes I do let them know behind the scenes, and I say, hey, if I care about them, that's when I say behind the scenes, like, you should know this. I mean, Luca and I have had conversations like that. It doesn't necessarily mean only you can be checked for lots of things. Being checked doesn't necessarily mean that you are being told you're saying something offensive. It can be when you did something stupid. Like, we've had conversations like that all the time where she would tell me or I would tell her, like, hey, I think you went a little too far with this particular situation. And that's fine. It's all in the same category. Letting someone know when they made a mistake, I think is important. Yeah. I think it's important for your friends, family. I think it's important if you care about something. And I think it's important to do. I feel like if more people did it, we would be surrounded by better people. But, y'all do you. Whatever. So you do what you want.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, me and Blue are going to approach certain situations the same and then other situations differently. And, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't necessarily make either of us right or either of us wrong. Yeah. Oh my God, yes, they're dragging crap on Twitter right now. It's so wonderful to see. Listen, guys, Crap Gamer just tried to compare the Witcher 3 DLC to and them having an expansion pass and all that stuff to freaking Star Wars Battlefront. I'm like, drag him. Drag him. But
moving on.
Oh, man.
We're gonna go on to our next topic, guys.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. What's your fuck that shit this week, Luca?
Oh my God. Okay, so listen, I was so angry. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I woke up like 30 minutes early to get to work on time, right? Bruh, I ended up at work 40 minutes late. I was like heated. Like, I was so angry. Like, I had never felt that angry before in like the last 2 weeks, because I typically get angry a lot. Anyway, but I was just like, are you serious? Because I had skipped breakfast, and I was like, are you fucking serious right now? Because I go down one street, it's backed up, right? I go down a different street, it's backed up, right? Then I try to go down this last street, and I look at my phone, it says, oh yeah, there's a 50-minute delay on this street. I'm like, bro, you must got me fucked up. So I had to like drive down a different road. I was taking side streets, and I was trying to get to work on time to grab breakfast because like they stopped serving breakfast at 9 a.m. I got to work at like 8:57. I got my food. I was like, you know what? I'm really annoyed right now. I'm very angry that I'm basically 40 minutes late, but I got food. But I'll have to say, fuck that shit. What the fuck? I don't understand how I wake up early and still end up at work late. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Nice. What about you, Newf?
Oh, fuck that shit. I'll tell you what I can fuck that shit is time changes. Up here in Canada, the Great White North, at least in my freaking area, they do a daylight savings time. So they put the time ahead or back. So in the fall, they take it back an hour. And then in the spring, they put it ahead an hour. I hate time zone changes. But it's not a big deal. I just don't understand why they do it, period. Like, I don't know, like it's dark at like 5 o'clock in the evening now, and it drives me absolutely bonkers, because you just feel thrown off. You're like trying to sit in your house, and you're like, you feel like you should be going to bed, but then you look at the time and go, oh, it's just like 6 o'clock and it's pitch black outside. So yeah, F that shit, the time zone changes, and F that shit, the loot crates and all that other shit that's turning up in video games. I'm not going to get on a big rant about that. I mean, I think it's overblown. People make too much of it, but at the same time, it's not what they're doing. It's just so much of it now. Like every game is copying that same old formula, trying to milk a game for every dollar. And I can understand it when you're a smaller game that doesn't have, say, a big brand recognition, and you're trying to make a few extra bucks because you're probably not likely to sell 6 or 7 million copies, right? I can kind of understand that. But when you're a big conglomerate, when you're a big company like EA, Ubisoft, Activision, et cetera, and you're making games with all this junk in it, and you're trying to, I don't care whether you're paying real money or you got to grind for 80 hours. Like it's sort of, it's pointless. And I don't understand why they do it, because those games sell good regardless. And it's just like, like you bring out this game, we're paying $80 here in Canada. I think you guys pay like 60 or 70 in States. But I mean, you're still paying that money. And then they try to charge you money then for the ultimate editions, and then I think Luca pointed out the other day she had some kind of ultimate edition of a game, and still didn't have all the content. I'm like, if you're paying $100+ for a game, whether you're getting it gifted or you're paying it, why in the hell should you have to get anything after that?
Yeah, oh my god. I got the $100 version of Assassin's Creed. Gift it to me. I'm not giving Ubisoft any of my money. If I can help it. And they came out with this new piece of like cosmetic DLC, and it looks so cool. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, it doesn't even come with my fucking $100 version. What am I paying for, bruh? Yeah. I mean, I didn't pay for it, but you know what I mean.
What are they paying for?
What are they paying for? You're wasting someone's money.
Oh boy.
But anyway, that's what I got to say.
Cool,
FTS.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, that's nice. Mine was just, it's just annoying when the bus is like super cold, when it's like
really?
super cold outside.
On the bus again?
Yeah, I just don't like it. So fuck that shit. Tell the bus driver to stop fucking playing games. That's all I gotta say.
What? They don't have the heat on?
No, they have the AC on.
Oh, okay.
And it's 50 degrees outside. What are you doing, bus driver? Open the window, bus driver. The fuck? That's how people get cold.
It's kind of odd. That's really weird. Whenever I would ride the bus like years ago, they always had the heat on during the winter.
I don't understand. It's a waste of energy. It's like super cold on the bus. It makes no sense. Colder in the bus than it is outside. What? Anyhow. Yeah. All right, let's move on to... But why though? All right, but why though? What's your but why though, Newf?
But why though?
Yes. Why are people crazy? Any stories about people going nuts? Me in particular, I do have one about a crazy lady that was walking down the street being like, I don't know if she was, okay, I'll be fully honest here. Mental issues is not something that I want to joke about, but sometimes it did seem as though she was homeless. Sometimes it does make for particularly strange situations. For example, this woman was screaming down the block about how someone is an uneducated piece of shit. And I was like, what the? And I don't know who she was yelling at because she was looking in a direction where no one was standing. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to cross the street here because this is a little suspect. And I was like, I'm not going to walk by this lady so I could get yelled at or something worse. Because, yeah, I'm just going to avoid that. And, yeah, I crossed to the other side. Yeah, that was a little, yeah, but why though? Hopefully she got some help.
She probably didn't.
Yeah. Homelessness.
Well, here's about why though.
Yeah. Tell us.
Here's about why though. I don't understand this one from any sort of point of view, but over the past couple of months, I suppose, not so much now because it's winter, but in the summertime, we've had various incidents around our community and in the neighboring community where people are walking up to like ladies and kids and they're like flashing their junk at them. So, but why? Like the thing is, well, what is your like what? Yeah, like what kind of mad fantasy or what do you expect is going to happen if the girl's jogging down the street and you whip your junk at her? Like what is the point? What is like I don't even get that. Like what are you hoping to achieve? I don't know. Like I never could understand that one, and it just baffles me, right? And then also to risk the fact that generally they never get caught, but if you did get caught, you're gonna risk like some type of criminal record over flashing your junk. Like I just don't get it. Heck, I'd be afraid to flash my junk because I wouldn't want the girl laughing at me for the next 10 minutes. So,
my God. Wait, they are okay. Who were they flashing it at? I mean, you should.
It's like, well, there was one incident. I think it was just outside of the schoolyard where the guy walked up by the
schoolyard. Oh
yeah,
God, what a fucking asshole! I would have killed that guy.
There was another one that was just past where I used to work. The guy apparently like early in the morning, the girl was out for a jog, and the guy like whips his and different people, I think, according to the descriptions. But then he whips his junk out, and I'm just like. But why? Like, I just don't understand the whole, I guess, the moral compass or the mental compass behind doing something like that. What do you think she's going to do? Drop to her knees and, give you a old heave ho? Like, what's the deal there?
Oh, yeah. It's just another way to show power. It's like, it's not like people actually expect to get anything from it. It's more of a, well, I'm going to just expose myself to like, to show like, hey, there's nothing you can do about this to stop me, There
are people who get thrills out of doing that. So it's another form of sexual harassment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose you have a point. Yeah, if you look at it that way, but that's just kind of weird. I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah. So people suck.
There you have it.
Oh, my butt why though. Listen, PUBG should not be nominated for Game of the Year. That is all. Okay, we're good. We can move on.
Okay. Next segment is our plugs. Let us know where we can find you, Newf.
Well, guys, you know where to find me. I am now moved over permanently on Mondays with Tack the Glitcher and the X Power Podcast. Great group of dudes over there, having a great time with those guys. Just a great fit for Newf Nukem. No chills. They give me a long leash, and I'm allowed to run loose, and I like that. And obviously, Xbox Nation on Wednesdays. I do have a YouTube channel. It's under Newf Nukem. Go check it out. Some good stuff up there. I don't put much content as much as I'd like, but when I do, it's usually entertaining. And as always, I'm on Twitter quite actively. You'll find me on Xbox Live at Newf Nukem and on the PlayStation Network at Newf_Nukem. Would love to see you there. Come send me a game, but I released a message. You guys are awesome. Hit the like button. Make sure you show your love for these two awesome ladies who I can't thank enough for having me back on the show. Second time around. It was awesome. Didn't expect it, but I was glad to be here. Always a good time.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here.
Always.
If you guys are interested in his links, they are down below. So definitely go check out his Twitter for any announcements and things like that. You will find some interesting things on his Twitter, just saying. Where can we find you, Luca?
You can find me at TheAshenLuca on Twitter and Xbox Live. And also on RDX Podcasts. We're not having a show on Tuesday because Dealer is out of town, but you can catch us next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, TiVo, I have my parties locked for a reason. I don't want you joining. Anyway, but yeah.
Nice. I will be... I do stream on Twitch if you guys are interested in watching. It's a little bit different than what you see here, but we still have fun. Definitely check it out. All the links are down below. They are going to be there when the show gets up, if you guys are interested. And if you guys want to be on the show, definitely remember that you can email us or leave a comment below. There have been people leaving interesting things in the Discord, so we are definitely going to maybe incorporate that at some point. There is a Fuck That Shit rant channel on the Discord, so if you want to take part in that, definitely join. The link is down below. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Ah, shit, I didn't get to do Cletus.